This is Errol Marks from the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. We're here for Super Bowl 59. We're at Radio Row, and we're here with the creator of Pylon 7-on-7 Football Company, Erika Jackson and Baron Flenory. How did this come about? How did you bring this about? What made you design something like the 7-on-7 Football Company at Pylon?
When I was in high school, I was being recruited by a lot of major colleges out there in the country. University of Pittsburgh, Penn State, North Carolina, Ohio State. You have an opportunity to learn how to do those drills. In high school, kids don't have that opportunity, at least not in 2001. And so 7-on-7 to me was the better way to evaluate talent. And so we had to go out and get all the top players throughout the country, put them on teams because teams didn't exist at this point. And then it just snowballed from there.
You work with many different athletes, obviously James Cook, Patrick Surtain, Derek Stingley, Malik Neighbors. What is it like working with all these different kind of athletes?
For me, I think it's really cool that we get an opportunity to have an impact on the youth's lives. It's not just about the 4- and 5-star kids when they're in high school and the NFL superstars as they grow up. It's really about giving these kids a platform to do something on the weekends that's going to help them with recruiting in football, do something on the weekends that's going to give them some safety and some security. And then also it's an experience that a lot of kids don't often get an opportunity to experience, not just playing in the tournament, but the things that are involved in it, getting on planes, sleeping in hotels, traveling to different states, meeting people from different cultures, different walks of lives. That to me is way more impactful than the guys that we get in the NFL. But that's very cool too. I'm not going to say that's not. I do enjoy walking in here and guys recognizing who we are.
We're first cousins.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that.
Now I figured that out.
So
now I could see the resemblance. I think I can.
At first, we butt heads a lot. It wasn't something that I was planning on doing. Baron's a visionary, but he needed help with all the nuts and bolts. And so he kind of brought me in because I have operations experience, event experience. But there was a lot of times that I was just like, this is not for me. I wasn't built for it. There's many times I cried to him, but he just would not let me go. He was like, you could do this. At first, men were intimidated by me and vice versa. So I think we didn't know how to actually develop relationships like that, because Baron literally said, you handle this, you run this, right? Everybody was always used to working with Baron. But I will say that he gave me an opportunity. He made me stay, but I really wanted to see him succeed, because what he's doing and what he has done with this platform, he was the first to ever do this like this. And so everybody that you see now on the circuit has really fallen on the backs of him and gained all of this experience and stuff by what he's accomplished. I'm just grateful to see some of the young athletes that have come through our programs. Like we saw Jaden Daniels today, and he was playing with us when he was in 8th grade.
Wow.
And his mom, Regina, was coming to our events in her RV and camping out overnight. But just to be able to see it, and like you said, I'm a true fan of the underdog. And yeah, we get the 3, 4, 5-star kids, but there's kids out there that are just as good, if not better sometimes, that people don't get an opportunity to see. So I always rally for those kids, because literally what we want them to do is eventually get a free education. Now, if they do something beyond that, that's amazing and impressive in all of itself. But we're really just trying to have an opportunity to have kids to be able to do exactly everything that he just stated.
We actually work for 495, and 495 is a football organization out in Long Island that is helping kids really develop and find ways to get scholarships for their futures. If they want to play college football or they want to play NFL football, they have really grown a product that is growing astronomically in New York. It's one of the best products right now when it comes to football. When you look at the game, and football is obviously growing every single year, you look at what the football brings in when it comes to the support of all the sponsorships and advertisements. When you look at that, when you look at the product that you're bringing into the field of football, do you ever look past football and looking at other sports like baseball or basketball where you can help?
As far as Pylon, not right now. We try to keep the main thing. But what we are doing now is incorporating lineman challenges, not just to Pylon events, but it's called Power Line. It's lineman specific events. I played safety and corner in college, so my frame of reference when starting this was really the skill position guys. So over the last decade and a half, there's really not been anywhere for the linemen that is theirs for them to go. There's still camps and such out there, but nothing that puts emphasis on them and evaluating them. So we are focusing on linemen now as well through our power line game.
I think it's great. And I think football is so big worldwide, and now it's becoming, NFL wants to bring football to England. They want to create English football teams, and maybe even in Germany. They have them all over the world now. I mean, I remember Tom Brady, his final year with the Buccaneers, the first game in Germany. Do you see the NFL bringing, a European team or a European NFL football team at any point in the next 10 years?
I don't know.
I got you on that one.
I would say I don't see why not. I mean, I don't know what their plans are, but I could foresee that happening. They have taken initiative to do Mexico and Germany and so on and so forth. And then with the Olympics and flag football and the NFL really pushing that, absolutely there can be a franchise that's not, here.
It's really going to depend on the fans over there because they're so soccer driven.
Yeah.
Right? But we did have an event in Germany, a 7-on-7 event. Remember that one time? And we did it that one time. It was for adults. But it's such a different makeup over there. It's such a different world. Soccer is huge over there. So it will be interesting to see how the NFL can maneuver their way into that sector and get a team over there. So it'll be pretty cool.
I love when I see different kids grow up and they really develop their skills through different organizations, and these organizations really help them figure out who they are, not just as young kids and kids that want to grow up and go to college and go play professional sports if they absolutely can. When you look at yourself, you wanted to be a professional athlete. It fell through, and now you built an unbelievable organization like this. Do you see yourself as a parent in the future? I don't know if you're a parent. Are you a father?
I am.
You're a father. So how old is your son?
Shout out Trey and Quinn.
How old are they, by the way?
13 and 10.
Okay, so your kids, do they ever want to play professional sports?
Yes.
Okay, and what does your son play?
My son plays basketball. My daughter's starting volleyball right now. My son's a very good basketball player.
All right, so that's awesome. You know why? Because I wanted to just kind of transition into this. Caitlin Clark,
yes.
What she's done for women's basketball, the development and all these deals that she's getting now. A lot of people have taken shots at her because she's not this and she's not that. You want the game to grow. You want it to take it to the next level. When you see somebody like your son who wants to develop to be the next LeBron James or a Kyrie Irving, what do you think your son needs to do to completely transition his career into college sports and maybe into a professional game?
So I was talking to somebody about this recently. I think to make it to the NFL, you have to be extraordinary. To make it to college, you just have to do the ordinary extra. You just have to do work every single day. You might not have the God-given physique and God-given abilities that make you a professional athlete, but with work, you can definitely earn scholarship. You can certainly get an education. You can certainly have an opportunity to stay in sports. You love the sport. There's avenues outside of the pros. So to answer your question, as far as my son, I don't look for him to go to the NBA. If he does, I'm behind him. His dreams are there. But for me, I just want him to get great grades and have an opportunity to go to schools that a lot of kids don't have the opportunity to go get in.
Hold on.
Of the grades.
Didn't you just say you're a visionary?
Yes.
So you got to vision it. You got to look through your own eyes and tell your son, Trey, you could be a professional athlete. I promise you could be a professional athlete. Anybody could do, if you put the work in, you put everything into everything. Even as a radio show host, everything that I've done in my whole career.
Is the work.
Work.
It's the work.
It's work. It's like every single day I wake up and I got to figure out, who am I going to interview tonight? I got my producer. I got my executive producer. I'm always, and then I try to go at it. I don't want to interview people the same way everybody else interviews you. Let's talk about Pylon, and then you're like, I just want to get up. I don't want to be here. You know what I mean? I want you to have fun. That's the whole point of an interview, right?
For sure.
The same thing as an athlete. When you go out there and you're playing the sport, you don't want to just go out there just to be mediocre. You want to be the best. Right? Am I right?
Some people.
Come on.
Some people.
I want to be the best.
I want to be the best.
I find this conversation
Not
very funny
everybody
because
wants
I
to
see
be
it
the
totally
best.
different than what he's saying about on this interview.
I want to be the
and
best.
I've known him all his natural life.
Really?
I'm
Yes.
telling you.
Well, you're cousins. I hope so.
No, his son is definitely the same as he was.
Okay.
I will say that Trey is an amazing, an exemplary at his age, basketball player. But I have no doubt in my mind he pushes his son just as hard as his son pushes himself.
Of course.
They have the same makeup. So he's like, if he doesn't make it to the NBA, I'm good with that. I believe that is an accurate statement. However, I think on the back end, he's like, dude, like
we're working for the league, but if it's what I want him to perfect world, starting point guard at the University of Stanford, and then go and be a lawyer.
Stanford.
My nephew.
How about Duke? I'm a Duke fan. I want him to go to Duke. I've been a Cooper Flag fan since he was in 8th grade. I love Cooper. He's going to be an NBA superstar.
Sometimes people say, academics come first, but I really want him to get it done in the classroom, and then if you work in your sport, whatever opportunities that you have, you'll be prepared.
Where do you see this company going?
I see national leagues all across the country. I see international 7-on-7 play. There are already teams from Germany, Canada, Mexico. We're at 40 events right now. We have the opportunity to scale within the next 2 or 3 years to 80 events, splitting the country into 6 different regions and having events in those regions every weekend. Currently, we have 3 regions, West, Central, and East Coast, where we do an event every weekend in those regions. We are growing.
Yeah, including Hawaii. We're the only event company that goes over to Hawaii. So a lot of these Hawaii teams and athletes, we go over there, and this will be our 2nd year going into Puerto Rico.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. I love Puerto Rico, by the way. I love it. The Puerto Rican mommies. I'm not going to tell my girlfriend that, but I'm just saying. Anyways, I really appreciate you guys. And by the way, I definitely want to interact with you off air, because I think what you guys are doing is great. I can introduce you guys to people that are working right now in Long Island building their product. And I think you guys could work hand in hand with what you guys are doing with Pylon.
Absolutely.
That's
really
great.
I really appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Are you a Giants fan?
I'm a Jet fan,
Jet
unfortunately.
Fans. We Jets fans, Giants fans.
But guess what?
So Coders Martin from Pittsburgh. We're from Pittsburgh. I went to Pitt.
By the way, I've done a bunch of concussion things with Curtis Martin. He does a lot of concussion things and out in Long Island in New York. And him, Joe Namath, I work with all of them. Curtis Martin is one of the coolest, down-to-earth people you can ever meet. And his story, one of the craziest stories he told me is when he was a kid, he went home and his grandmother was murdered. And he told me his mother tried to keep him away from, obviously the gang-related stuff that he was seeing with his cousins and his family members. So she put him into football. And he said he never wanted to play football. He never wanted to play football. When he was drafted, he had no interest to continue his football career. But when he met Bill Parcells and his growth as a player and understanding how to be a man, he became a father figure to him. And he said he never saw himself as a Hall of Famer. As a matter of fact, when he went up there and he received his Hall of Fame award, he went up there and he said, listen, I am what everybody thinks what a champion or what a superstar should be, but I never saw myself as that. And he also said to me in a conversation, he said, when I see myself as a young kid from Pittsburgh, I see myself as a kid that only sees himself as a person that drives people to see how far he has grown as a man playing football. So I think he's a sensational personality. I've never met a person like him. And I've met a lot of athletes. I've interviewed a lot of athletes. And I love, and by the way, Pittsburgh kids, I've met so many Pittsburgh athletes over the years. I think some of the stories that they've told me and where they grew up, it's just unbelievable where their lives just transition into. It's unbelievable. And by the way, the Pittsburgh Pirates have the best stadium in all of baseball.
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful. So you guys got something to look forward to. Anyways, Pylon 7-on-7. We have Baron and Erika. These are fantastic, sensational people. And we'll be back after this. I really appreciate you guys.
Thank you so much for having us.